This is like Pimp, my hospital room. Well, we are ready for a long week of appointments. Yesterday we had our home nurse for TPN labs. Today we have the urologist for pelvic floor therapy that my oncologist had referred me to back a few weeks ago. Although I'm not sure why he sent me to urology, because although I do have problems in that area, that was not necessarily the reason I was being sent to pelvic floor therapy.
She's just trying to talk herself out of it because they're going to be doing like a...
The claws of death.
Yeah. She's going to be having an exam. And she's not happy about anyone messing with her hoo-ha.
There they are.
And we don't know if the jelly would even work anyways.
Yeah, that's probably the same stuff that
From a mast cell standpoint, it's not wise.
When I woke up from my colectomy, my bladder pain from them putting the catheter in was the first thing I felt. Before I even felt my stomach. I didn't even know what happened. So, I got the appointment. Didn't get the claws of death. Yay me. And they didn't have to stick a scope up my bladder either. So, double yay. We addressed how I have to strain extremely hard to urinate. And then, of course, we also discussed the mast cell involvement, where it burns and feels like I have to pee all the time when I don't. And then my problems releasing all of the way. I'm getting a bladder ultrasound to see how much urine I am retaining. And then I was referred to pelvic floor therapy, which is the whole reason we came. The appointment was very quick and we got what we came here for. So I'm hoping that the therapy will be beneficial. The doctor did mention a woman who did the pelvic floor therapy 3 years ago, and she just ran into her again, and it's still working and showing its benefits. So I hope that is the same with me. I'm not sure we have the same conditions underlying, but regardless, if something can help, that would be nice. It's like 3 a.m. and I woke up with a bowel obstruction and fever. So we are packing for the hospital. I did end up going to the hospital. We called 911. The whole rigmarole started again with the severe abdominal pain, excessive thirst, my blood pressure drops, heart rate increases, and I spike a temperature. I was admitted under sepsis protocol because since I have a central line, any temperature above 100.3, you have to have blood cultures taken to make sure there's not a blood infection that has spread to the central line. So far my cultures are normal, like they usually have been. This admission has been kind of frustrating. I was admitted by infectious disease, and the doctor keeps refusing to consult GI. I think it's one of those situations where it's a pride thing. I asked to have GI consulted, and he's just like, why? I don't have any questions for them. Like, as my mom said, it's like calling a proctologist to look at your foot. It's a whole different specialty. Like, GI is not his area, and the bulk of this problem is GI. Perhaps has potentially caused an infection, but originally, like, the original problem is GI.
Is that the free coffee?
Yeah, I can't leave. We need to know which way this is heading, and we're waiting on labs and the team. So, but they know our wishes to go home. Are you filming me? Cheyenne's filming me.
She's talking to my dad on FaceTime. Oh, I can see Teddy.
Hey, quit taking off my covers.
There's his butt.
No, just push my covers off.
He wants his daddy to get up.
For when I was admitted, there was a smell in one of the rooms, a burning smell coming from the kitchen. And so they switched me to this room, which, do you even know the story behind this? I don't remember. It was an accident, this room. They call it the suite. Because it has a living room to it that was supposed to be a second room, but it couldn't be, I guess, because legal reasons or...
I said entrapment. Because it's in the corner. You can't have a room like this in the corner, a waiting room. It was originally meant to be a waiting room.
Yeah.
So it became part of the actual hospital room.
Which is mine. This is like Pimp, my hospital room. And then you walk in. And then it's pretty much like any other regular hospital room. Other than that, it's kind of different, I think, from anything I've ever seen. Got the TV. The
Yeah,
board.
this room is nothing to write home about.
Then we got the view.
And that's the waiting room to get out there.
We've got the view of
Tarps.
tarps that looks like a swimming pool on the roof. And then that's the bathroom. That's just there.
And if you want family to stay in this said living room, that pulls out to a full-size bed. And that's where Selena's been doing his homework.
But I'm gonna try to go home today since what I explained earlier, how I'm pretty much admitted under the wrong specialty and they're not being very helpful, but we are waiting for labs because my hemoglobin decided it was gonna drop from a 10 to an 8. And that is like infusion, even bordering transfusion level. But do you think anyone told us? The only reason we found that out is because I had asked the nurse what my labs happened to be. At that time, none of the doctors ever came to show us or to tell us that it happened. So we don't know if we're gonna stay for some kind of iron infusion, because I was kind of nearing that anyway since I'm not receiving iron in my TPN. And I obviously haven't been doing feeds other than an ounce a day. I'm still gonna try to go home. But every other admission here has been great, but this one's kind of been lacking. And I can't promise I'm not gonna be back in a couple days since this whole thing keeps happening over and over again. But honestly, I'd rather leave and then come back and be admitted under the right specialty rather than infectious disease, because they still won't even call in GI. Well, this has definitely been the most frustrating admission.
Yeah. Preach.
But I'm going home. With an 8 hemoglobin and all. I look so white in this.
I don't think you look any whiter than normal.
No, but like just the contrast from me to you and here.
It makes me look, actually, I look horrible, but I look jaundiced compared to you. I kind of look orange or something, or fake tan.
You're tan.
I look tired.
Golden bronze. I think we both look kind of rough. Not gonna lie. This has definitely been the most frustrating admission ever. Both infectious disease dudes, because the doctor switched today. This one was way nicer and everything, but he was still kind of taking the side of him
He's gonna take the side of his colleague. I think
Infection.
ID doctors are on the grumpozoid list.
Yeah, so basically we've got an infectious disease doctor trying to play GI, and while like all the GI knows that there's literally a problem with my GI tract, and this guy is just wanting to insist that everything is fine. But 1 second he's trying to say that I need to get off TPN, and then the next minute he's saying that
because it attracts all kinds of bacteria
and fungi and stuff, and then the next second then I don't need to be putting anything in my gut ever.
We're just
blah,
gonna
blah,
go
blah.
on gut rest.
That all I need is some gut rest. Everything he said was really contradictory. Like first says there was nothing wrong, then there's something wrong, and they just don't want to deal with it. But yet they don't want to call in who they need to call. But if there was really nothing wrong, then I wouldn't have gotten accepted for the transplant
By their scans.
evaluation from their scans that they've done at this hospital. The GI doctor here is the one who sent me for the transplant eval. The out-of-state motility clinic, it took them a month to go over all of my scans and my medical history to determine whether they were going to accept me into the program. So there's an obvious problem, but infectious disease just was being annoying and frustrating. And so I am going home outpatient now that my temperature is down.
The sun was out all the way earlier.
We are hoping this will not happen again. And I guess the motility clinic out of state for the transplant eval will be May 6th, and let's pray I can make it until then without this happening. The whole process is very intense. I have to meet with GI, dietitians, cardiology, pulmonology, the surgery team, anesthesiology, psych, genetics, and then once they determine afterwards through all the tests if I am a candidate for transplant, then they will decide if I am to be listed immediately or if I can wait. I get a week to think about it once they make their decision, and then I can determine whether I want to be a transplant recipient or not before they list me. And if I'm not to be listed yet, or if I choose not to be listed, then they implement bowel therapy, which is a combination of medications and surgeries to decrease my dependence on TPN. Good morning.
Oh, you're recording? Hey. I was wondering why you just out of nowhere just started a conversation with me. I was like, hey, that's not like her.
I do start conversations.
You never start conversation.
I do. Anyways, we're back home. We called GI. The problem stems from my GI doctor group not being part of the hospital, and the hospital just switched owners. It's not owners. How would you explain that, Sylvina?
They just merged.
Yeah, like the original,
There was a merger between the two companies.
the original company that owned the hospital that I attend, I guess, got bought out and merged with this, and since the merge, it has caused a lot of problems. I mean, every once in a while, everyone has a frustrating admission, but I think the big component is the politics.